Homo sapien, Neanderthal, mankind, human being. No matter how we are defined, there are limits to our existence. Boundaries have been set that cannot be broken or exceeded because of our biological form. How we are conceived, what genes dictate our characteristics of colour, size, and behaviour, our potential strengths, weaknesses, and the inevitable aging process that is programmed into our bodies constantly defines us. We are a species that science claims to have evolved from the apes, but nature's evolutionary cycle has led us to be the dominant race on this planet by our advanced intellect. This evolution process that takes hundreds or millions of years to progress in any biological creature will be challenged and overcome in the future.
My purpose. My purpose is my own choice, to share what I believe to be a perversion of our given right by nature or the cosmic powers that be, to populate this planet. The future is filled with many technological advances which are unimaginable at some points, with many advantages for the human race. But these advantages come with a price, as all pros must have cons. Yin and yang. Some form of balance must be kept.
In the beginning, our conception was a random act of shared chromosomes and gene combinations relative to our parents. That random act of nature has been infiltrated and exposed as an algorithm, a code, a formula to the alteration of our growth. We are not randomly born with unknown characteristics. We are modified, customized, personalized by our creators who wish for the model child they could be proud of. We are not allowed the right to prove our potential through years of trial and error. We are already expected to fail and disappoint. With our engineered potential, we are expected to prevail and succeed. But being an enhanced human doesn't mean the absence of failure, but the expectation of greater accomplishments, with the allowed margin for error reduced to a minuscule molecule. Potential is not based on perseverance, but the fact that our genes dictate our output. If your genes were altered to be an Olympic athlete, you would better break records or be labelled a massive disappointment. Such is the life of an evolved infant to a teenager who has to realise his true potential without choosing his own path.
This brings us to the adolescent years of a young adult. As with all teenagers, rebellion is a necessity, so they may experience their own freedoms and grow as individuals. While being genetically enhanced at birth, the rebellious behaviour of teenagers is still within our race. However, their experiences are far more troubling than the years of drug abuse and peer pressure. In the early years, there are drugs which are detrimental to your health and illegal because of the side effects. Our future consists of drugs which alter the mind and body, but are very legal. The side effects not harmful to oneself, but rather to those in society who cannot afford the medical marvels. For example, in the early years, the fashion industry still believed perfection was in reach via chemicals, which would improve your appearance tenfold, and a skinny body was still the most desirable form. However, those who could not afford these chemicals felt imperfect and unfit to socialise with the so-called perfect. Some bought medication to cope with the depression, but only as long as they could afford it, while others lived without the medication, while some went as far as taking their own lives because they felt separated from society and could not get over the feeling of a detached existence. Sadly, our future is still plagued by the idea of physical perfection. This idea of perfection is mostly seen within young adults who have so far failed to live up to their parents' expectations or are unhappy with their parents' genetic choices at birth. For these young adults became the augmented cyborgs of fictional stories told countless times in the media, for the technology was developed for victims of sudden, unfortunate accidents that left them dismembered in some aspect. But there were other instances where laws allowed modified humans the right to alter themselves as they saw fit, because the choices made for them before birth were not their own. So those who could afford to alter their organs would do so. But as with most societies based on capitalism, there were those who could not. They had to either learn to accept their original form or find other means of accepting their present existence through coping medication. Yes, strong forms of antidepressants still exist in the future to combat depression. But it was all a facade, lying to the world that this technology of enhanced beings created a world of happiness when there was still ongoing suffering. However, there were those strong enough to continue their lives through other means such as religion or support from family and friends. As you see, the future is not always as bleak as some would make it out to be. This fusion technology, which grew from biological and cybernetic nanotechnology, allowed humans to alter themselves even further to give rise to another form of advanced human, an augmented human. This fusion technology, used to replace dismembered limbs with cybernetic limbs, is a powerful technology. It continues to incite much debate due to its potential to expand an individual's lifespan. With it, biological organs can be manufactured depending on an individual's body type, or grown with cybernetic nanotechnology. But this is where our race begins to segregate itself from being a naturally born human with a limited lifespan to a semi-immortal being which is reminiscent of a machine in both divisions. Replacing biological parts with new ones is the equivalent of a machine replacing its dilapidated parts. But I know what you're thinking. This extension of our lifespan would cause an alarming increase in our population on the planet. But as mentioned earlier, we live in a society based on capitalism, and as we all know, things do not always come cheap. You see, replacing biological parts with fresh ones is far more expensive and time-consuming than manufacturing bionic organs. Human tissue must be grown using the same DNA, or risk rejection and contamination. And as we all know, all blood types are not the same. This brings us to the questionable end. Well, depending on how much you earn, this is what a typical human life cycle is like in the future. Now I know what you must be thinking. How is it I know so much about our history and the future? Well, you could say I'm a pioneer. I've been living and observing what has taken place over the last few centuries on our planet. And how is it I'm able to send you this message from the future? Well, I can say the future was filled with unbelievable technology. In any case, remember my words and receive this message with an open mind, for this is not a warning, nor is it an absolute forecast, as we all know how quickly the weather can change. Your present is my past. My present is your future.